In mid to late September, we were invited by the Lithuanian Navy's Fuselier Battalion to watch some of their activities. Hopefully you've already seen our previous video from the same trip, where we were extracted from a boat by a helicopter, search and rescue style. The day after that wild Navy/Air Force experience, we had the opportunity to join diving students on what was supposed to be a routine dive, but instructors had a surprise planned that would put their training to the test. So if you're ready, let's check out what happened. First off, a little bit of background. The Fuselier Battalion is a relatively new unit under the command of the Lithuanian Navy. It consists of 2 security companies, a shallow water team and an underwater team. Our focus of today's video relates to the underwater team. These are qualified divers who perform tasks underwater up to 55 meters deep. Within this section, there are assistant demining divers and fully qualified EOD/minesweeper divers. The latter group are experienced assistant minesweeper divers who additionally complete advanced mine clearance and diving instructor courses. They lead diving operations, mine clearance tasks, and conduct training for junior service members. We'll be making a full video about the entire Fusilier unit and its structure and activities in the future, so be sure to subscribe to be notified when it comes out. But for now, in today's video, we're retelling our experience spending part of the day with the underwater team as they trained diving students. First off was the pre-exercise briefing held at the battalion's home on the outskirts of the Lithuanian city of Klaipėda. With that out of the way, students gathered their gear, prepped it for transport, and began to make their move towards the dive site. But within about 30 seconds of the journey beginning, our vehicle encountered something unexpected. A woman ran out onto the street to stop us and asked the service members for assistance. It appeared that her husband needed urgent medical attention, although ambulance crews had already arrived. While the 2 paramedics may have been able to extract the individual from the home themselves, it was done faster with the Fusiliers, and so the ambulance rushed off to the hospital after that. After this, the drive to the dive site took about an hour, and students and their instructors got to work preparing for their dive. Meeting us there were 2 medics providing emergency service support. While we were offered the opportunity to dive, we declined and stayed on land. It would have been a great experience, but without any waterproof camera gear of our own, we wanted to make sure to capture any action that might have taken place before or after the divers went underwater. While students and their instructors went through the course, the rest of us waited and enjoyed the beautiful weather and scenery of the lake. And then, about 40 minutes later, the divers surfaced and made their way towards the shore. We were warned ahead of time about a quote-unquote surprise for the students, but weren't exactly sure when it would happen or what it would look like. Thus, we unfortunately weren't recording at the precise moment that one of the instructors passed out on his way to the shore. We can assure you that it was Oscar-worthy. And this was the big surprise for the students and a test of their emergency management skills. So preoccupied with discussing their dive, the 2 students failed to notice their fellow diver motionless behind them, even for about a minute. It was only due to a prompt by one of the instructors on shore that they finally realized that they had to act quickly and respond to this emergency. As you can see, they sprung into action with one student running to shore to get a stretcher. Eventually, our victim was loaded into the ambulance and the timer for the simulated emergency stopped. Once the students and instructors changed out their diving gear, a debriefing took place in Lithuanian. It was during this debriefing that the 2 students were well roasted by an instructor and a medic about the mock rescue, which they more or less botched. The students themselves admitted that they weren't fast enough. The biggest shortcoming was not paying attention to the fact that their team leader was in the water, not noticing due to being in conversation. And after being notified, they dropped their equipment to rush to the assistance of their leader. But halfway at the attempt to rescue, it was realized that they actually needed some of that equipment. The bottom line was that it took way too long to get the casualty to shore for medical treatment. It was noted that aid had to be rendered to the casualty in the water, and that students should have removed the victim's clothing to open the airway immediately. A knife could have been used to cut the suit to expose the chest and airways, and the rest would be done on the shore. A few minutes should have been taken to remove the mask and headgear. And so it was obviously a huge learning experience for the students to be alert at all times during the dive, even when above water and close to shore. Our sincere thanks to the Fuselier Battalion's underwater team for allowing one of our team members to accompany them for part of the day. It was great to have this short glimpse into how students are trained to be divers. Once passing, they'll join the battalion's underwater team to eventually become reconnaissance and/or EOD divers, with EOD standing for Explosive Ordnance Disposal. If you have any military experience, have your instructors ever planned something like this? Let us know by leaving a comment.